My boss fired me by email during vacation to steal my work. He didn't know I owned the copyright to everything he needed. I was a project designer in China making massive sculptures for malls, 12-foot dragons with moving parts and lighting that made headlines. My contract was clear. I owned the copyright unless the company paid extra, which they never did. New ownership changed everything, and the new boss pushed me to sign over all copyrights for nothing. No raise, just sign here, so legal is easier. I said no, because those designs were my livelihood. Things got tense on my biggest project. 12 massive zodiac animals for a busy plaza, each with motors and backlit patterns I'd perfected. The plaza licensed my designs with my name in the contract, but the boss started cutting corners, swapping marine-grade materials for mystery board, using cheap anchors that'd rust. And when I pushed back, he said clients can't see inside. Before my vacation, I created a detailed binder with specs and emailed everyone that any changes required my written approval. 3 days in, I got pictures. They'd ignored everything, used wrong fasteners, botched the lighting so my dragon looked like Swiss cheese, and the plaza complained about animals creaking when people leaned on them. That's when the boss sent the nuclear email, terminated for insubordination, copying the company and client, writing they'd complete all work under company copyright immediately. I pulled up my contract and sent 2 emails, one to the plaza saying my licensing required my approval, and since I'd been fired that no longer existed, one to the boss saying cease using my copyrighted materials or face infringement. Then I slept like a baby. The plaza's legal team contacted me next morning, so I explained I hadn't approved modifications and had documented safety concerns, offering to consult at my rate. They hired me immediately, so I cut my vacation short and found visible corrosion on anchors, under-tensioned frames, and metal stress sounds on structures kids climb. The plaza halted public access, demanding fixes under my specs or removal, refusing changes without my sign-off. This triggered penalty clauses, daily fees for delays, plus fees for covered displays, and they'd tarped 3 animals during launch week with social media turning brutal. The boss refused correct materials because his nephew's shop delivered cheap ones, creating a standoff where penalties bled the company while my crew called asking to help. The owner flew in and I offered to license continued use and supervise corrections as an independent contractor at a fixed fee plus premium for unauthorized mods. The boss scoffed, saying they'd build without me, but my lawyer asked how long that'd take while penalties piled on a plaza contracted for my set. And after silence, the owner agreed with one condition: no working with a boss. We spent 3 nights replacing anchors and fixing everything. And when the plaza relaunched, social media flipped from mockery to couples taking selfies. The plaza wanted next season extension requiring a new license at proper value. An internal review discovered the boss channeling purchases through his nephew's shop at inflated prices. Owner called a month later saying they'd made a leadership change. Boss was fired, and a different mall contacted me to design independently. I recommended a colleague's workshop, suddenly had more work than I could handle, while the original company realized they needed me more than I needed them. He fired me to steal my work. I complied with the reality they only had a license tied to my approval, stopped approving anything, watched penalties force them to hire me back as expensive consultant controlling every decision. Boss fired me during vacation, but I owned the copyright.